Welcome to Duck Season Somewhere podcast. This episode is brought to you by the following sponsors. GetDucks.com, your proven source for the very best waterfowl hunting adventures. Argentina, Mexico, 6 whole continents worth. For 2 decades, we've delivered real duck hunts for real duck hunters. And USHuntList.com, because the next great hunt is closer than you think. Search our database of proven U.S. and Canadian outfits. Contact them directly with confidence. Trust is earned. By the numbers, 121 waterfowl subspecies bagged on 6 continents, 20 countries, 36 U.S. states, and growing. I spend upwards of 225 days per year chasing ducks, geese, and swans worldwide. And I don't choose shotguns for the brand name or the cool factor. Y'all know me way better than that. I've shot Benelli for over 2 decades. I continue shooting Benelli shotguns for their simplicity, utter reliability, and superior performance. Whether hunting near home or halfway across the world, that is the stuff that matters. Sit means sit and stay until it doesn't. No matter how well or how often trained, retrievers want those ducks as badly as we do, maybe even more. Chardog might be titled, but she's still just a dog. I'm over 50 years old and I still do dumb stuff, trust me. Retrievers are family. I wouldn't endanger my children near heavy traffic, and I'm not going to risk my dog jumping in front of blazing guns either. Gundog Outdoors' patented quick-release safety system is fully adjustable, tethers to any blind or stand, has titanium stakes for frozen ground, and a quick-release marine-grade shackle to quickly release Fido when the smoke clears. Visit gundogoutdoors.com. Connect with them on Instagram at Gundog Outdoors to see their growing line of Gundog safety and performance products. Enter hashtag GetDucks to receive 15% discount off of your first order. Mojo Outdoors, most recognized name brand decoy, #1 maker of motion and spinning wing decoys in the world. More than just the best spinning wing decoys on the market, their ever-growing product line includes all kinds of cool stuff. Magnetic pick sticks, scoot and shoot turkey decoys, much, much more. And don't forget my personal favorite. Yes, sir, they also make the one, the only world-famous Spoonzilla. When I pranked old Terry Dimon in Mexico with a smiling mallard, nobody ever dreamed it'd become the most talked-about decoy of the century. I've used their decoys worldwide, everywhere I've ever duck hunted, from Azerbaijan to Argentina. I absolutely never leave home without one. Mojo Outdoors, forever changing the way you hunt. Boss Shot Shell's copper-plated bismuth tin alloy is the good old days again. Steel shots come a long way in the past 30 years, but will never, ever perform like good old-fashioned lead. Say goodbye to all that gimmicky, high recoil, compensation, science, hype, and hello to superior performance. Know your pattern, take ethical shots, make clean kills. That is the boss way. The good old days are now. It really is duck season somewhere for 365 days per year. Duck season somewhere takes me year-round to worldwide destinations where I visit with the most interesting people. I'm your host, Ramsey Russell. Join me here to listen to those conversations. Welcome back to Duck Season Somewhere as our conversation continues with Mr. Johnny Borrel in Avoyelles Parish, Louisiana. Have you got any questions for Mr. Johnny about these good old days? Inbox me at Ramsey Russell Get Ducks or text message me. My number's everywhere on the internet. I've heard from a lot of y'all listeners, a lot of you folks that just found us because of this topic matter. The current theme of connecting today with those, quote, good old days, unquote, where the duck numbers darkened the sky, not turn of the century. Our lifetime, or a lot of our lifetime, your daddy's lifetime if you young guys are listening. Anyway, shoot us an inbox or contact us if you've got any questions. We are going to have Mr. Johnny back on the season. But let's continue with part 2 of No Regrets, Modern Day Louisiana Market Hunting Stories with Mr. Johnny Borrel. What would you show them?
Oh, I'd say, look, boys, put the decoys out. Now, y'all watch. Give them a call. When they start piling up in there, let them pile up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, row. Then when they get up, row. You make a short day that way instead of take them and then most of the people can't shoot.
Mm-hmm. Most of them didn't grow up shooting ducks on the fly with a pellet rifle.
That's
either.
right. And then I'd like to know how many shells I shot since then. You know.
What do you think about this? And it ain't new no more, but it is. I grew up just on the tail end of lead. But what do 70s and 80s and 1990 or 91 we went full blown non-top.
Yeah.
What do you think about this steel shot?
Steel and lead. It's so much different. I can remember when I was reloading. I could reload an ounce and a half of number 6 and shoot a duck at 60 yards flying, kill him stone dead.
Mm-hmm.
That was with a 30-inch full choke.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hesitate to shoot it at 50 or 60 yards.
Yep.
Today, you're looking at 40 yards.
Still got to hit him, yeah. And you still duck hunt now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets when you look back to the old days? When you see duck hunting now, when your grandkids are duck hunting now, do you ever look back and say, golly, I just wish I'd done something different?
Nope. I don't have those. Like I tell a lot of my friends.
No regrets.
I was lucky
to
be born when I hunted in the best of best.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't cost me nothing. Compared to today, it didn't cost me nothing. It was unbelievable to people say, well, I talked to different people that I stopped at the Marshville Landing during the duck season. Last year, I believe it was. And they were coming out. I said, what y'all got? Oh, we got our limit. I said, yeah, what you got? A hooded merganser, a spoonbill, 2 black
model duck.
Ringnecks.
Ringnecks, yeah.
Yeah. We never shot that. That was, you couldn't sell that when I was, a hooded merganser. This year I saw more hooded mergansers in my life since I've been living. Mm-hmm. I saw bunches of 15, 20 hooded mergansers. I ain't never seen that. Now, I don't know what's going on.
That's interesting.
The first hooded merganser I saw, a buddy of mine in Hickory Hill shot it. And I said, what's that? A hooded merganser. I said, I never saw one. The only reason I shot that shoveler, like I said, I never saw one. Then my daddy got on me for shooting a shoveler. It ain't worth a damn.
Did you shoot any more after that?
Nope. You can ask my grandson. When he started hunting with me, we didn't shoot a gray duck, a Norwegian, nothing like that. We shot mallards, pintails, wood ducks, and green-winged teals.
Mm-hmm. The good stuff, Dave.
The good stuff.
What other changes you've seen? You've talked about the clearings. You've talked about the bean fields. I don't remember. I think you talked about the Dismal Swamp. How you feel like it stretched, all them hardwood stretched clear on up into Minnesota. What other changes? We've talked about the climate. We've talked about the refuges. But, the good old days of Louisiana, as you describe it, would have been the best days were back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Right. That was. I mean, even in South Louisiana in the marsh and all that. Today, what they killing? A few blue-winged teals and some trash ducks, in my opinion.
No mallards.
No mallards. The mallards quit going down there.
Mm-hmm.
The pintails, I don't know if they go down there no more.
I don't know.
This year was the first time, the last day of the season, I saw a large amount of pintails. They worked on us, but they never came low. it was always a strange duck in the bunch. That's another thing I noticed. Back when I was a young boy, when you caught a bunch of ducks, it was either mallards. You might have had a couple of black mallards in there. You never had pintails mixed with them. You never had green-winged teals mixed or wood ducks. It was either mallards, wood ducks, pintails, or green-winged teals. You know, and I mean, now you start working a bunch of mallards, all of a sudden you have gray ducks in them. We never used to have, you know, when we were doing all the killing, like I said, mallards, pintails, that was it. Back in the 50s or the early 60s, they had a survey. You know how many ducks they'd survey? They surveyed 4 species: pintail, mallard, black mallard, and canvasback. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Check it out.
I will.
That was the only 4 species they took inventory on.
Nothing else mattered.
Nothing else mattered. Now, back in '83, me and my buddy were sitting in the blind and we were talking. We used to read the Louisiana Conservation. They had a survey. Cameron Parish was killing 1 million ducks a year.
Wow.
Avoyelles Parish was killing 15,000. That's what they said, 15,000. Like I told them, I said,
That they knew about.
I said they're way off on Avoyelles Parish because I could name 40 people that were killing 1,000 ducks back then.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And South Louisiana, Cameron Parish was the number 1. Then around up in that area, they had some bigger numbers. But as far as up north Louisiana, Avoyelles Parish was at 15,000, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I was born in the 60s and grew up in the Delta in the 70s. And, you know, a lot of that marginal farmland or those sunken bottomland hardwood, they got cleared back in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
But it was different. I'm just thinking about Mississippi Delta, my roots, but it was different because like the crops you had then, those soybeans, maybe the water had come up. The terrain was there's more topography.
Right.
Low spots got wet. It wasn't zero graded, and but them beans would last. Maybe we wouldn't get the full value, but get some value out of them. Come and harvest them in the spring.
Right.
But now we on generation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something. The rice same way. Clean farming practices. And there's just, you know, Roundup ready technology. There's a lot less out there in them bean fields.
That's right.
And so when you talk about the 50s, 60s, 70s down here, you're thinking of a lot of button willow swamps and timber. And I'm thinking the Mississippi Delta that I saw growing up in the 60s and 70s was a lot of that buckshot land just been cleared, a lot of open water, and there was a lot of doves.
Right.
And now there's all regenerated hardwoods there, buck vines again, and there ain't as many ducks in the Delta.
That's right. We'll give them. They had the U.S. Forestry came in to check the reforest deal. The best place that they planted that did so good was why we duck hunt out of Chinyao. That was the only place the oak trees and all that did outstanding. If you go right before you get there in Randy Moore's part and Doucette, the oak trees ain't there. It's scrub trees like, if you ever notice. Now, but then back in the 50s and 60s, we used to get a high water every year from the end of February to about the middle of May, if you remember. And it would flood all this. Mm-hmm. That was before they cleared out the bean fields. Mm-hmm. You understand? And then since then, it was like right then in Spring Bayou. Like you said, now that the bean fields, we used to have bird's eye planked. Doves love bird's eye. Now there ain't a bird's eye, you don't see no doves. because of the poison and the technology. They did away with all that. Now, am I wrong?
What do you duck hunt today? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, what people don't realize, I believe y'all call it potato. What?
Duck potato.
Duck potato. They called it kosh kosh. You understand? That's what they used to call kosh. Well, spring by would dry up. You understand? And the hogs, people raised hogs in the woods, and they get in the lakes and root this root up. Makes a little potato.
Duck potato.
And when they start on that, it's unbelievable. They coming to eat that. That's like cocaine to them.
You dang right.
You understand? Until they sold the property that we used to hunt on right there, that's what they would eat, the little duck potatoes. And he ain't never seen that before. And wherever they rooted at, when the water would get like that, where a duck could walk and eat and had water, it was a massacre.
Yep. You show me somewhere with duck potato right now, and I'll show you some ducks come duck season.
Right.
I guarantee you.
That's right.
I guarantee you. Some of my favorite places have been hunting over duck potatoes.
Right.
Have you ever hunted, or do you ever hunt today rice and beans and fields? Do you hunt like that anymore?
Back in in the early 70s, I used to hunt with Avoyelles Parish in the Bains. Back then, I'd get to hunt there one day a year. You understand? Bobby would call me. He says, I got the blind for 2 days. We're going to hunt 2 days. Okay, Bobby, I know. I'd get out there, and the pin, I'd tell him, look, I want to shoot just pintails. Okay. I'd get out there, we'd kill 50 to 80 pintails. We'd come out, they'd see that. Don't bring him back no more. Next year, I'd get 1 day, same thing. After 2 years, I said, Bobby, don't call me no more. I'm going to kill him over yonder.
Unbelievable. What do you like hunting ag? You don't like hunting ag. You like natural habitats.
Right.
That's what you want to hunt.
Yeah.
Is that what you hunt now when you go hunting?
That's right. I've been hunting in this hole. I've been hunting there 40 years. And I know I killed.
Is that that'd be some of the same places you hunted back in the day?
Yeah. Well, I'd say air miles. I'm maybe 10 miles away from where I know spring by. I doubt if it's 10 miles. It's most probably about 6 air miles. You know, I mean,
How far the duck flies?
Yeah. I hunted Pomme de Terre. Now, that was some nice hunting there. There was flooded willow trees and swamp, you know. And when them ducks came in there, it was, they came to rest. You'd kill them in Pomme de Terre, you'd shoot them solid rice. When he was, when he first,
Your grandson, you mean?
My grandson, when he was, 5 years old, we bought him a 410, cut the stock so he could shoot.
Let me raise your mic back up. Go ahead.
So he could shoot. Went to Red River Bay.
Hang on a second.
And we caught a drought. And I told my son-in-law, I said, let's bring the pirogues all the way around to the back because you ain't going to be able to come in from the front because it's too shallow. He said, you think? I said, I know so. So we left that afternoon at 6 o'clock, and I drove pirogues until 1 o'clock in the morning to get to the back of the lake. The next morning we got in there, and we killed a bunch of ducks. He killed his limit with a 410. The ducks that lit, he'd shoot. Then we went to this little island, and we sat there for that year. I'd like to know how many ducks we killed sitting on that little island. Nobody could get to us. They They weren't smart enough to do what I did. Now, we worked to, you got to work to kill some ducks.
Right.
You just don't say, well, I'm going to sit.
Even back in those days,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. You had to figure out how to do it and how to kill
And
them.
do it right.
Do it right.
How important back in those days was concealment, being hidden?
I learned something a long time ago. You get on the shady side of the tree. You don't make no sudden moves.
Yep.
Because that's what they see, movement. You can ask my son-in-law, my grandson, the blind I'm sitting in, I'm sitting on a 5-gallon bucket. I'm sort of underneath the tree, but I'm always in the shade. And you can ask him, they'll light from here to there from me. I use natural, the vines that grow, some slabs of cypress that I stack up, and a few little willows. And it's not, and a pull string.
You like a pull string?
Oh, yes.
You use spinning wing decoys?
No. Well, this year I didn't. My grandson and them use them. And when I go with them, it was my pull string the whole year.
When did you start using a pull string?
Oh,
Back in the good old days?
Back in the good old days. That's why I learned that.
Back when you was market hunting?
Right.
How would you rig it? How would you rig it then versus now? You use inner tube or something?
You get you an old inner tube. You cut you a strip, and you put your stob and tie it, and put your 4 decoys or 5 decoys, and start pulling. Because hunting in the trees, you don't have the ripples like in the lake.
That's right.
So you have to make ripples. And the sun hits that and reflects, and they say that they movement. So they pile in.
Back in the good old days, a pull string only.
That's right.
What I know you sold the ducks themselves, the meat and the heart and the gizzard, which I love duck hearts.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best things on a duck. But what did y'all sell the feathers too?
I never did, but
I bet the old timers did.
yeah, Mr. Gunya and Mr. Tossan, they saved all their feathers.
What would they? Was that? I guess it must have been lucrative.
Mr. Douglas told me it takes 80 ducks to make a good feathered pillow.
Really?
And that they were only keeping the chest feathers, the soft feathers. You couldn't take the tail feathers, the wing feathers. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because
they were too long, too coarse.
and
Yeah.
The quill was too big.
Yeah. Wow. Getting back to it's easy when folks are thinking the skies are just dark with ducks that y'all just go out there and half-ass shoot a duck, but y'all were skilled hunters. I mean, you hid in the shadows and
Right.
camouflage and natural
Yeah.
cover.
Well,
And you were patient enough to let them birds get right.
that's right.
And that's how you made them numbers.
That's right. Oh yeah.
What other? And you used a pull string way back when. I never even heard of a pull string till.
Till I met them boys.
Yeah, they showed you how.
They showed me. You know.
Wow.
That was something I wanted to tell you. You know, when they made the bean fields, when they first cleared them, they windrowed everything. You had a big windrow. And about every 50 yards, another windrow. Well, what you do, you'd walk at the end of the windrows on the dry ground, and you start looking. Oh, there they are. Well, you'd get on that far side, you'd walk down, get to where you think they are, you climb up on top, and you, bum, 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 bum. And you'd pick up, you'd wait a little while, you'd watch why they went down, you go and you
Do it again.
do it again.
My goodness.
It was a lead pipe cinch on them sometimes. You know, I mean, I pulled some good stunts in my life. I ain't joking you.
Tell me more of them good stunts.
Hell, like I said, we'd watch for a roost. Now, some of the boys there that would shoot a roost, they'd wait until it all light. Then they'd bow, 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 bow. But then you didn't know if you, where I'd get on the roost, and they start coming early back then. And you start. And hell, by the time I'd get through shooting it, if they had a moon, you waited until a good full moon, and you'd put the moon where they come in at.
Well, you're looking at the moon, so you can moonlight them.
Yeah, the moon would light them up. And hell, I shot it till 8 o'clock at night.
My goodness, wow.
And then you had a headlight you'd pick up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain. I mean, you know, it was so many ducks. In the morning, in the bean fields where they hunt at now, they got to be out at 10 o'clock. They can't leave no decoys. And they ain't killing, I don't know if they're killing any mallards there now.
No.
Am I right?
Yeah, it cost them a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean.
Now paying a lot of money for fewer ducks, more pressured.
Yeah.
It's getting tough and it's getting discouraging.
Right.
To duck hunt this modern era. Now here's a question I got for you. I was going to ask you a little while ago. Given your past duck hunting back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, some of these stories you said may have been back in the 90s.
Yeah.
What is it like when you go out with your kids and grandkids today and hunt? To go out today, pick a day this past season, your best day or your worst day, what's it like to,
Well, my last grandson, he lives in Shreveport. And last year he came down and he spent a week with me in the woods. And we caught duck. Thank God we caught a good week. And one morning we caught a bunch of mallards and gray ducks that came and lit right in front of him where he could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And
How old is he?
He was 10 years old.
Okay.
And he killed his first mallard and 2 gray ducks when he shot. I gave him my 20 gauge to shoot. And he killed a wood duck. And the next day he killed 1 or 2 ducks every day. And then I cleaned them for him, and he brought them back to his mom and his grandmother. And this year he didn't get to come down, but I'm hoping later on in life when he gets old enough, he comes back down, and I'm hoping I can still move and take him and show him, or else his cousin can do that for him, you know. When I was growing up, opening day of squirrel season, opening day of dove season in Marksville, there wasn't a man there. That was September 1st. Not a man in Marksville. They were dove hunting. Opening day of squirrel season, first weekend in October. Not a man in Avoyelles Parish. They were in the woods with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Today, when my grandson, he's 27 right now, or 28, I don't know, but when we were going to Grassy Lake to my camp, I brought him, his little brother, and all his little buddies. I was the only camp that had kids in the woods. I'm 73 years old, and I'm still bringing kids in the woods. If you don't do that, you're going to lose this heritage.
Amen.
And
why is it important to you that this heritage persists?
Well, I'll tell you why. There's 2 things. If you don't hunt, if they do away with hunting, why you need a gun? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And these liberals up there are screwing with our lives. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with all these Federal Reserves, if they don't start opening up, letting them at least go and scare them out, to let people start seeing ducks and hunting and getting more people involved, we're in trouble.
You know what I think about? Your story reminded me of my little boys, when they were little boys playing baseball, Little League.
Yeah.
Come Labor Day weekend, open day of dove season, that coach always scheduled practice.
Yeah.
Because it was a free day out of school to go, whoa. We're going to be dove hunting.
That's right. That's right.
I had the only 2 kids on the whole team, or the only kid that was going to be dove hunting that day. And had to always call the coach and say, we ain't going to be there.
That's right.
We're going dove hunting. But you know what I think about is if I've always believed that kids only love what they touch.
Yeah.
They don't know it unless they touch it.
That's right.
And if the only way that future kids and future society is connected to the resource is by looking at pictures on the internet or their iPhone, they ain't gonna give it. They ain't gonna care less whether it's out there or not or how many there is.
Right. That's exactly right.
And I respect, I respect the fact that some people don't like to hunt. Take a bird watcher, for example. They'd rather go out and look through binoculars. That's fine.
That's fine.
But the distinction is the average birder is happy to say, well, there's a mallard duck. Check. I've seen him on my list. We duck hunters want to see. I want the sun to be eclipsed when mallard ducks fly over.
That's right.
I want a great abundance of it. And so that's why it's important to me that people hunt. And I'll say this too to anybody listening. They know it ain't important to me just that it be kids. I mean, I hunt with a lot of adults now, grown men that have just been duck hunting 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
They don't duck hunt like I do. They don't duck hunt like you do. But that's okay because they're interested.
That's right.
And they're contributing immediately. They're buying the boats and the decoys and the guns and paying the taxes. They're contributing to the economy of hunting. You know, and I think it's important that we have greater hunter participation. But I believe, too, that this heritage of ours is under attack. And we've got to do it. And I guess that brings me back to why I asked you the question, Johnny. How did you feel having seen what you seen back then versus now?
That's right.
It must be frustrating trying to get your grandkid on a duck today versus back at little 10-year-old little boy's first hunt. He might have shot 20 back in the day. That's
right. Well, that's a good example right there, sitting. From the time he was old enough to walk, I remember when we were going to Red River Bay, walking all the way. He was only 6 years old. I said, boy, give me your gun. Nope, I can carry it, Papa. Carried his gun and his ducks. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking, we walked 1.5 miles through the woods to get back to the truck. Mm-hmm. And go in the morning, he had his hunting bag and his gun and his little headlight, and he followed. And now he's stuck on that.
That's right.
You know, it's a disease.
Well, you know, all you got to do to get kids involved, or anybody really grown or young, is take them.
Take them and show them.
And once they see it, once they touch it, the first time any human sees a duck hook up to a call and start working and responding to them, I can't imagine their heart not beating through the chest.
I'll tell you like this, he can verify that. I have a friend of mine that lives in Dallas, Texas. He's a billionaire right now. He was the number 4 man behind Bill Gates. He came hunting with me the first time he came hunting with me. He stayed with me for what?
2 weeks probably.
Yeah, well, he hunted with me for about 10 years. Yeah. Then he quit. Now he's running a business. He has 5 major businesses out this country, plus the one in 7, 2 of them in the United States and 5 of them in different countries. And I talked to him the other day, and I think he's going to come back hunting with us again this year. Mm-hmm. But he hadn't hunted. It's been almost 15 years since he started this business. Mm-hmm. And I've told him that all he has to do is come. And I think he's beginning to realize what he's been missing.
Oh, yeah.
And money ain't the answer to everything.
Money's good. I'd like to have that
Right.
problem.
But
there's also the issue of living.
That's right.
You know.
I'm not a rich man. I'm not a poor man. But I've been a lucky man for as far as hunting wise. I've had the best. I don't care who it is. They have not had the hunting experience I've had.
More than duck hunting, get ducks is the lifestyle we all enjoy. It really is always duck season somewhere. Check out our caps, t-shirts, hoodies, and more at our new GetDucks.com store. That's GetDucks.com/store. Thank you for listening to and for supporting this podcast. And remember, life's short, get ducks.
The only time I didn't kill a duck, my buddy got caught by a game warden. And we went on the rooster together. And I didn't get to shoot. I was in the wrong place. And he got caught. Now,
you know, a lot of your stories, I mean, none of us, nobody I know that's duck hunting is out there just to watch the sunrise. We're not bird watchers. We like to watch ducks over the top of a gun barrel.
right.
But, you know, so many of your stories have been about people.
Yeah.
You know, it's in places and time, not just about dead
Right.
ducks. And as a
That's
market hunter, I know dead ducks are important because
Right.
it paid for things.
It pays, but
But so much of your conversation is not coming from a market hunting standpoint. It's coming from a real emotional place.
right.
Just this love for this duck. And for the people.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of let's see, I lost two good friends that died that loved to hunt. And they the only time they really enjoyed it was when we were together. We were
In a duck blind.
killing ducks, you know, and both of them are dead now. My grandson's dad, my son-in-law, he was hunting with his uncle and them. They were killing ducks, but they were shooting black ducks, you name it. And then when he started dating my daughter, my daughter asked me, Brent wants to go hunting with you. I said, well, I was sort of leery. I said, okay, tell him to come. We went. We got in the blind. Well, here comes three big mallards. I gave them a call. They lit about 20 yards from us. I said, boy, there they are. Kill them. Well, he jumped up. Bow, bow, bow. 3 shots missed. I grabbed my gun. Pow, pow, pow. I killed him. I said, boy, sit down right here. I said, you hunting over here in the woods. I said, when they light right there, that business of jumping up like that, ease up, shoot on the water, you're going to kill 2. Then you kill the other one. After that, I didn't have no trouble with him. He learned. But hunting with his uncle and them, they would jump up and have to shoot on the wing all the time. I said, over here, we let them light. And that's how we started, you know. And now, that's all he wants to do is let them light.
That reminds me of a story I hunted back when I was living in Grenada. Somehow or another ran across about a 90-year-old man that had hunted parts of that area since right after World War II, and he knew all the history, and we met, and we were going out to a public spot, and my freaking battery-operated light went dead, and his eyes adjusted. He said, just go where I'm telling you. And we cleared through that little bottleneck of timber, and he says, now, where do you want to go? And I told him. And we navigated to it in the pitch black dark. He knew right where we were going. We set up. I got a little pull-up blind, everything going. Enough ducks were flying. We got 2 limits of ducks. But, you know, kind of shooting a group limit just way back when. And he shot a single shot Sears and Roebuck shotgun. And I remember telling him, you know, we're getting close to the end of the limit, sir. I mean, don't you want to shoot in? He goes, son, I ain't shot a duck flying in 50 years, and I ain't going to start this morning.
That's right.
And he was serious.
Oh, yeah.
And the one pair of ducks that I actually let land without getting shot at, he couldn't get his gun up quick before they fled because it was public. There was a lot of shooting going on, and they were real skittish. They wouldn't just sit and stay there forever.
Yeah.
And but he ain't never shot a flying duck and wasn't going to start that morning. He was just happy to be there, and he was happy to take his share of them and go on. He didn't care.
Back then, like I said, you could tell when they shot on the water. Back then, well, it was in 1993. My buddy, he was the management area warden. He finally told me, he says, put the plug back in your gun because I'm getting too many complaints. I said, okay. So, but before that, you could tell, you'd hear, bow, 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 10 shots. Then you start hearing, bow, 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 bow. That bunch lit, you shoot, you start shooting, and then after all that was the broken wings they were shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays you hear, bow, 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 bow.
That's it.
Nothing.
That's it. They shooting them flying.
That's no shit.
Or shooting at them flying.
People, they read that box, high velocity, shooting 1,500 feet per second. 1,500 feet. That BB ain't traveling that 1,500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But they think it. And that's steel.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how many times I picked a duck and had a bad spot on him from a steel BB.
Yeah, or a goose.
Yeah.
Where it heals over and stuff like that. And I see the same thing when we hunt in lead-friendly countries. Still, I hunt with enough people during the course of a year. I sit in the blind and watch them, and I say, you're shooting behind a bird. Well, how you know?
Yeah.
I said, because you're shooting lead. It's 1,250 feet per second.
Right.
You know, and you got to get out in front of these birds.
You got to get out. That's right.
You know, every time. You know, and understand, it's been a long time. It's been an entire generation or two of duck hunters shooting steel shot now. That's all they know is that super fast junk science. You know, of speed.
Right.
And you put a lead shot in the hand, and especially when you go to somewhere like Argentina where they're shooting target loads, you know, and it's slow, man. It may be 1,150, 1,200 feet per second, and you got to get out in front of those birds.
That's right. Well, like what you just said, I can see it through my but I'm lucky. I'm shooting in. The furthest shot I'm shooting where I hunt at is 35 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big my range is. From this end to this end is 50 yards. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it's only 35 from where my blind's at all the way around. Mm-hmm. You understand? So, I'm good. But you take in the open water with people, and open water, you don't have nothing to judge your distance. That's what's bad. Whereas I know exactly what's what. You know, and people don't realize that, especially these younger kids.
Well, it comes with experience,
right?
And I mean, 50,000 ducks thereabouts you've shot. I mean, that's a lot of experience that a lot of folks ain't gonna have.
That's right.
You know, I remember reading old Nash Buckingham something he said one time, because he was reputedly a great shot. They were shooting long barrels, lead shot, tree topping birds, and he was supposedly a very, very good shot. And he said, future generations will not shoot as well as my generation did because they don't have the opportunity to shoot. He was hunting pre-migratory bird treaty act where his club had a self-imposed limit of 50 ducks.
Yeah.
So he was shooting a lot of ducks legal, but now, to go out and in one day he was shooting as many as 6 good consecutive days in Mississippi or Louisiana. Right. That's a lot of experience.
Like
comes
you
with
said,
time.
That's right. Back when I was young, when they started clearing out the bean fields and the ducks didn't have a place to hide, every day you had ducks. Mm. So you didn't have, today, a lot of people go, well, I didn't shoot. I didn't, they might go 4 or 5 days without pulling the trigger. I'm lucky. In my little hole, I'm still shooting every day. While we hunt at, we still shooting every day.
Yep. Well, that brings up a good point. You were talking earlier about when the big front hit, and the day of the front, it wasn't no good. Ducks were kind of discombobulating, getting settled. Did you hunt every day back then, or did you go just in the good days? Because nowadays everybody goes every day. When I come outside of my garage or come out there to my hunting camp and it's a warm front done hit, and what I call the days that the concrete's wet.
Yeah.
You know it ain't gonna be no good. There ain't no wind,
Yeah,
there ain't no sun, there ain't no weather, there ain't no reason to go duck hunt. But I go.
Right.
Did y'all ever just sit in and hunt just the good days, or?
Well, now while I'm hunting that there, it's like I tell them: when the sun shines, when there's sun, there's fun. When there's no sun, there's no fun.
That's a fact.
You understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
But we're lucky. I mean, when I say back when I first started hunting there, we prayed for somebody to go in the bean fields to scare them up.
Mm-hmm.
And you never stop seeing ducks pass. I mean, just treetop level. And once they see that hole, they dive in. When I started hunting there, I didn't have a hole to hunt. You understand? I just started creeping in the trees. I brought up my little boy, I'd paddle him in the pirogue, and he'd shoot ducks swimming across the old road. And when I'd get to a certain place, I started killing mallards. I'd see mallards all over the place. I said, where in the hell are they coming in at? And I kept looking. Finally, I took another old logging road, and I come up to this little bitty hole about the size of this room here. From the top of the trees down was solid feathers. I said, this is the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I started clearing it. I remember the first day I went in there, I had my boy sitting in the pirogue underneath a big pecan tree, and I was with a buck saw cutting the little bitty trees that was starting over. And I hauled them out, and he'd holler, Daddy, here comes some ducks. I'd run, get in the pirogue with him, and we'd shoot them. Finally, he'll tell you how big I got it. And I made 3 holes. And he can tell you that's possibly the 3 best holes he's ever hunted in.
Mm-hmm.
There's my hole, they call it Pops's hole, Laz's hole, and Hunter's hole. When he was 4 years old, it took me 3 years to figure out why to cut that hole. I just don't go
right
butcher a tree down.
Got to get it right.
You got to get it right. And that's how we did it. And that's right. It's not where you want to go. It's where they want to go. I've seen people put blinds in wrong place every time.
Oh, yeah.
I started hunting at this place, and when we passed down the bayou paddling, I'd always jump ducks at one place. Well, when I didn't have a hole, I'd hunt that one place in the bayou and kill what I wanted. But then the more people that came, because it's public land, I stopped hunting that. That's why I have these holes. And another thing, today people are lazy duck hunters.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't get that Go Devil or that Pro Drive or that Gator Tail to the place, they ain't coming.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to walk or paddle a pirogue, they ain't going.
A lot of folks want to drive their Polaris right through the field, right to the duck blind.
That's right.
Yeah, scare them ducks to high heaven.
That's right.
Now, were y'all using, I'm thinking back in the 50s and 60s, maybe you didn't have them loud motors. Maybe you didn't even use an outboard. Maybe you were P-rowing or paddling quietly up in there with them duck holes.
What they do, you had big blinds back then with a roof. These market hunters, if you'd see that blinds that they built, they had a room with a heater, a stove, a bench, a bed. You'd walk out on the shooting deck, and you had enough overhang over you in case it's pouring down rain. He had a stool like that. It was always a 3 or 4 shooter, and he had a full little. You'd sit there. It could be pouring down rain unless the rain was blowing in you. Then just one man would stay until you see some duck. But you sat there. You never got cold like the ice that they had there. You had that heat in there. You'd sit there. You'd warm yourself. One man would watch for the ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And the boat. Most of these guys had 20-horse Merkers with a wooden boat. A flat John boat, you call it, and they put them underneath the blind, so nobody would see that. You see, so, and then when we hunted you'd park your boat on the bank, and then you'd cross the ridge and you get in the flat water and you'd walk. Mm-hmm. But spring bayou you had to have a boat to get back and forth. The bean fields you drive up and walk. Mm-hmm. While the turn row stopped, you walked after that. Mm-hmm. Or like if we had a camp in the woods on the school board, we'd cut across the school board and then we'd walk roughly about 1.5 miles to 2 miles to get to the good part.
How important was camo patterns back in those days? I'm trying to imagine what kind of camo pattern you wore back in the 50s and 60s. Probably none.
Okay. 90% of the people back then had a Army surplus shirt, a wool shirt, a draft green.
Green.
Or the Army coat, draft green. Mm-hmm. 90%. And then, watch, I'll show you if I could find it. They might have some here.
Yep, he's looking around at a picture on the wall.
But then the
Army
old camouflage. You remember it was that spot.
Yeah.
There 3 spots there. That was it.
That was it.
If you had that, you were high class then.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. But just those men were hidden, and they were comfortable.
Right. That's right.
And I bet it was a lot of work putting them blinds together like that.
They cut boatloads of willows. I mean, they might cut 5 boatloads of willows. And I mean, the boats were 4 foot wide, 14 foot long, and they were always more in front. Mm-hmm. You know, and they piled them up as much as they could. They'd put 4 stops to keep them from.
Yeah.
And then they'd bring them out there and start brushing. And then they'd always kept a lot of brush on the side for during the year to keep rebrushing. Mm-hmm. Well, they did it first class. Mm-hmm. There wasn't no slack in them.
Mr. Johnny, what do you think the future of duck hunting holds?
Well,
from what you've seen to now, what do you think the future holds?
Well, I'm hoping one day they wake up and realize that they should, all these rest areas they got, now keeping the flooded cornfields and all that has a major disaster, really, because they'll go to the Federal Reserves, stay there all day, then at night they hit them fields. So there's no moving, no looking for something to eat. You understand? Back when we were hunting, they were always looking for a place to hide or eat. Mm-hmm. As far as the water, they had water. But I mean, when you stop and think about it, it was mostly looking for a place to hide because the pressure. They had pressure back then, you know.
Yeah.
No, everybody could hunt any place they wanted. And
back in the 70s, you used to kill scanted ducks. You don't kill that no more.
no.
You used to kill what?
Scanted ducks. Small ducks.
Yeah.
White ducks. Hungry ducks.
Yeah.
What?
Like small ducks.
Yeah. Skinny. Oh, yeah.
Skinny duck.
Oh, yeah. When they'd come down, they were blue.
From flying.
And didn't have nothing to eat, really.
Well, now they got ag all the way
Yeah.
down.
Now, when the bean field started, then you started killing big fat ducks. Am I wrong?
Oh, no.
But before that, if he did, that's why I was creeping in the buttonwillers back then, because they were eating the bennies, and they were white fat. Bean field, yellow fat. That's two different fats and two different tastes. You next year watch that.
I will.
Watch-
I'm really not just so nobody listening gets me confused with opinions, is I really am a proponent. I am a proponent of sanctuary areas. But because I think there's so much hunting pressure across the landscape that y'all didn't have back then, that ducks have got to have somewhere to go and not get shot. I was out in California, and I was out there for a couple of weeks hunting every day. And my host said, he said, the only problem with trying to lay out 2 weeks is trying to hunt non-shoot days. And I didn't really understand what he's talking about, shoot days. With so many of the clubs and public lands out there, they only shoot Wednesdays and Saturdays, or Wednesday, Saturday, Sundays.
Right.
And the whole rest of the week, they ain't a footprint or a motor or nothing on the place. And it really does provide a total quality experience. And in so many parts of the world, like we're in right now, ducks get shot at 7 days a week from daylight to dark, and they got to have somewhere to go. Speaking with Mr. Osborne, Dr. Osborne up there at University of Arkansas, Monticello, he had a radio pack on a mallard that showed up and stayed the entire season on one of 3 areas. And a week after the hunting season ends, that duck's all over the county.
Right.
That duck he feels that hunting pressure.
That's right.
It's just a very difficult time. We spend a lot of money, we spend a lot of time managing for waterfowl. We want to go shoot them every waking moment. We only get 60 days anyway. But how do you step back and give them and let that pressure off and still get your money's worth, quote unquote, about shooting ducks? That's a real problem we got today.
Right. What that fella just said. Now, I had a buddy of mine that Johnny Lazarone killed a male pintail with a radio on him. They were tracking that duck flying from Callahoola rest area to Arkansas 3 times a day.
Wow. How far a fly? That's got to be a while.
Well, I would say
that's got to be 50 miles.
I'd say maybe 75 miles, because now let's stop and once a duck gets up there, if he has a tailwind, a duck travels 45 miles an hour, but if he has a tailwind of 50 miles an hour, he's traveling 90, right?
Right.
Okay. It don't take him long to get there, eat, come back to the rest area, leave again. 3 times a day they told him that he was flying to Arkansas. Okay. Now what I'm saying, I can remember now, I wanted to tell you about that. When we were hunting in Red River Bay, when he was a little boy, every day from 9:30 to 2 o'clock, these ducks would come to this lake to drink. I don't know why they came all the way to this lake from from around Bunkie and Bill Platt and all that, where all the rice fields are. Solid rice, come there. They'd light. I'd watch them lighting that lake, wash themselves, drink a little bit, and get up and haul ass back the same way they came.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I got 3 more questions for you. What is market hunting over completely?
I would think so.
And when did it end? Back in the 70s?
No, I'd say it ended about.
Last week?
Oh no, I'd say about maybe about 2000. It went way down from 2000. Well, let's see. I'd say about 2005 for damn sure.
So originally in 2005, there were still folks out there shooting ducks to make a living.
Sell. Not to make a. They were selling ducks.
They were selling ducks. just tradition if nothing else. And then
Yeah.
I guess around the time of year you're talking about, 15 years ago, about the time you said previously that's when the ducks just fell off.
That too.
The opportunity to do it just didn't exist
Right.
no more.
Plus, nowadays, there's a lot of people that don't eat ducks.
Why you think that is?
I think because of my generation, I still eat ducks,
I do too.
but we're dying off. That's another thing. Now, in Avoyelles Parish, they eat ducks, but I don't know about the rest of this country.
Well, earlier on, I had asked you, last episode, I'd asked you favorite way to eat duck. And what I have seen in our social media and our keepings on and going on is a lot of folks don't know how to cook duck. And what I've realized is, in talking to young folks, let's just say in their 20s, it ain't they don't know how to cook duck, they don't know how to cook. And it's kind of a quantum leap to go from frozen pizza to duck.
That's right.
Because duck ain't like we had a guy on here many episodes ago talking about cooking duck, and he pointed out that all three of the most famous chefs out there today, if you ask them what their favorite meat to cook and eat, they're going to say duck because that fat and everything. Well, kids today don't get that, It's a good duck to eat.
That's right.
Some of the most expensive meals ever sold in the most opulent restaurants in New York City were wild ducks.
Right.
That's right. And it's a good,
yeah.
but it ain't like cooking the frozen pizza or hamburger.
That's right.
It takes a little something to it.
It takes
They don't know how to make a good Cajun gravy.
That's right. A good duck gumbo.
Good duck gumbo.
I mean, shit. We were born. I don't know about you, but they better get down on their knees and thank the good Lord they were born in the Avoyelles Parish.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
You have some of the best food here.
Yeah, I won't agree. Yeah.
You have some of the best people, and you still have, in my opinion, you still have a lot of hunting
culture
here. I mean, there's still a lot of people that's still pounding it.
It's still a sportsman's paradise down here in Louisiana.
That's right. Back when I was a kid, Spring Bayou was the talk of the world for fishing, everything. I can remember they had 3 boat landings, mind you. Mr. Gilby had 100 boats. Mr. Carl Lafargue had 1 landing with a bar and gas station. He had 150 boats. And Mr. Greenhouse had over 250 boats sitting right there. And if you didn't, like right now, if you didn't put your name down a week before, you wouldn't have a boat that weekend.
Wow.
That's the truth.
That's lifestyle.
Oh, yes. And we were kids. Well, we'd go over yonder and we'd help load the boat and unload the boat, and they'd tip us a nickel, a dime. At the end of the weekend, I made more money than my daddy made in the whole week.
Wow.
Now.
What's your favorite duck to cook and eat?
The green winged teal and the wood duck is about the 2 best.
You like them with a lot of fat on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you cook them just for that gravy recipe you told us about. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, my grandson
or your gumbo.
And my son-in-law, they do damn good.
Good.
I mean.
Last question. I just got to ask this because folks know me. Back in the day, your daddy got on to you shooting them shovelers. Today, as tough as it is to hunt compared to back then, will you shoot a shoveler if he comes in?
Nope. You can ask him. I don't shoot a shoveler. I very seldom shoot a gray duck.
Really?
That's right. A blue-winged teal, I just about quit hunting them damn things because he's on the shoveler side.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah, they all in the same. The only reason they put the green-winged teal with the blue-winged teal because it was a small duck.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But look at their beaks. The cinnamon teal and the shoveler and the blue-winged teal, They all have that.
They're all in the same genus, spatula.
right.
They all call them spatula now. That's right.
right.
That's exactly right. And you know, the number one most requested species that I ever get a call about is that cinnamon teal, and that's like that, you know, like just imagine you had three sisters: the blue wing, the cinnamon, and the shoveler. And one of them became a doctor, and one of them became a judge, and the other one became crack smoking somebody out from the ghetto. That's that cinnamon teal, the way they live and eat. Now, I'm gonna tell you, they live way down the habitat chain.
God dang!
They are absolutely beautiful birds.
Yeah.
But they live in the muckiest, raunchiest habitats. I would not eat a cinnamon teal on a dare.
God. Well, you see, we killed one. I've seen one cinnamon teal killed in Louisiana.
Really?
My boy killed it in Red River Bay.
As many ducks as y'all killed back in the day, did y'all ever kill anything interesting like that? I mean, just like a hybrid or something crazy?
I killed a cross between a pintail and a mallard.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, had the stripe
I have
on
him mounted at my camp.
Really?
Yeah.
Really. Mr. Johnny, I sure appreciate you coming on. This has been absolutely fascinating couple of episodes, and I know everybody. I know after last episode, everybody was banging me up and asking a lot of questions. Want to get you back on here, but folks, y'all have been listening to Mr. Johnny Borrel down in Avoyelles Parish, Louisiana. Market hunted back in the good old days, and still duck hunts, and had a lot of very interesting thoughts and ideas about duck hunting now versus then. Thank y'all for joining us this episode of Duck Season Somewhere. See you next time.